young people on board. That's the call from Cosatu President Zingiswa Losi. She made this call during the Federation's Central Committee meeting, and Losi joins us now to discuss what's been happening at that committee meeting now. Thank you so much for making time, Ms. Zingiswa. You are on your second day of the Central Committee meeting, a number of issues being discussed there, including for the need for your members to recruit young people to ensure the long-term survival of the Federation. You have union membership that is declining now among the working class overall. So do you have new strategies as Cosatu to attract these young workers?
Thank you very much for having me. Yes, indeed, we must say we are on the second day of our Central Committee. And part of what is strategic now, I can tell you now we are in different commissions as we speak about to conclude the work. And critically for us, what we have realized is that we need to get new ways of organizing. The old traditional way may not be working, may not be attractive to the young people. Young people now are in the modern ways of communicating, they are in their gadgets. And if you think that you are going to walk into a workplace and find young people, some now during COVID, we have learned that we have to operate differently. We are working from home. And what is the best way to be able to talk to young people and be able to grow your union? It will be to form different strategies. And part of it can be on the e-side of things, your e-commerce, your gadgets, and to ensure that you are able to reach a number of young people. But also importantly, you would know that the economy that we're preparing ourselves for, that is the economy of the future, is an economy that demands of us to be able to move ahead with what has been introduced. For an example, we're talking about the fourth industrial revolution. You need young people that will be able to fit into that and bring more ideas of how we recruit, but also of understanding and appreciating the new sectors that our economy are operating under now in the near future.
Isn't the problem that the Federation is slowly losing its relevance as well and has been relying on the victories of the past to stay relevant to the young workers?
I would not necessarily agree fully with that, because for an example, the economy that has been shedding jobs, you would know that the retail sector and other sectors of our economy have been hardly hit. Long before even the COVID came. Then COVID came, then a lot of people lost employment. So it is not necessarily because people have lost interest, but we have acknowledged that 75% of workers in South Africa are not unionized. And this is the call that we have always made, not just for the Federation Cosatu, but for all trade unions in South Africa, that we seem to be taking from the same pot, you know, organizing and counter-organizing one another and not paying attention to those that are not organized. And I can tell you now that those that are not unionized, they want to join unions. Part of what we need to deal with is how do we go to those sectors where some employers are still adamant of not enabling their workers honestly and truthfully to be able to exercise their constitutional right to belong to a trade union. So part of the loss of a membership is not because we have become irrelevant, but it is because of also the economy itself that has been shedding jobs.
What discussions have you had around the support for the ANC? You've had unions like NEHAWU who previously resolved not to support the governing party, not to even help with financial resources. What's Cosatu's position?
Cosatu's position remains that we will go out and support the African National Congress to ensure that it comes back victorious after the 1st of November, which that decision is also a decision of NEHAWU. Remember, NEHAWU did not say that they are not going to vote for the ANC, but NEHAWU said they don't have the financial muscle to run the campaign. So, but they never called for their members not to go and campaign. They never said that they are not going to call for members to vote for the African National Congress. So when you say, remember, the public sector have been in and out of courts with the employer on the basis of the last agreement that was not paid, and also with the number of the percentage that they received now. So you're talking to a union, part of the public sector, that would not have received for their members in order for them then to request for their members to make a contribution. So this is an assessment that Nyahawi has made independently in their own organization, but they have never said that they are not going to vote for the African National Congress, nor that their members should not campaign, but they said as an organization, in the way that they traditionally used to do it, in terms of giving that financial support, this time around, they do not have the resources. But Cosatu's position, because remember, we are coming from the 13th National Congress. In the Central Committee, we're making an assessment of how far we have come in implementing our Congress decisions. We are not here to as a federation, national office bearers and the CEC, to present a different report, but we are here to make an assessment. Until we get to the next Congress, which is next year in September 2022, then Cosatu will be able to arrive at a different decision. Here today, in this week, we are making an assessment so that it will be able to help us in making an undertaking of what would then be a decision of the Federation come 2022.
One of the main issues that some workers have been concerned about is the issue around mandatory vaccines. What are you doing as unions to encourage workers to vaccinate? And will you support government if it goes with incentives for those that are being vaccinated, or even introduces the so-called vaccine passports?
As a federation, we have gone to a campaign ourselves of recruiting, not necessarily recruiting, of encouraging, for a better word, for members to vaccinate. Remember, we have members that are in the public sector who receive those that are not vaccinated, and they have been experiencing the traumas of dealing with people that are highly infected with COVID-19, and they are able to tell stories. But at the same time, when we encourage people to vaccinate, we are also saying we are against a mandatory vaccination of our people, because people must be respected due to their own beliefs, and be it religious belief or cultural belief that would not enable them to want to vaccinate. So in terms of vaccination passport, already now, when you go and vaccinate, I've vaccinated, I've concluded my vaccination. I get a small, you call it a passport, but a card that is evident that I have vaccinated. I get a letter that says I have been vaccinated at this site. Now, whether then government will make it as a vaccination passport, a federation will have to talk to that matter during the course of the 4 days. But we must also remember that vaccination passports, we have been traveling the African continent and other countries. You have to get a yellow fever vaccination passport, and you would not enter another country without you having that yellow fever vaccination passport. Even if, I can tell you now, I've experienced it, when in my passport, I had lost that vaccination passport of the yellow fever. Within 10 years, I had to do it again, even though I know for a fact that I had already injected myself with that yellow fever. So it is part of those things that we will need then to say, what does this one mean? But what we are against, and we have been vocal about it as a federation, is when the mandatory vaccine becomes a condition for you to be retained in your workplace. And this is what we have called that as a federation we are completely against.
All right, Cosatu President Zingiswa Losi, thank you so much for making time on the lead this afternoon, speaking to us there about some of the issues that they are discussing at Cosatu's Central Committee meeting. It's taking place this entire week. We'll take a quick ad break.